Hey Keyboard Magazine, this is Dan Walker and I'm here to give you an exclusive tour of my rig with Heart on the Love Alive tour here in 2019. The crew refers to it as the spaceship. It's a little over-convoluted, but this is what it takes to make all the sounds we need to make on this show. So without further ado, I'll start with the heart of the rig here, the Nord Stage 2. I've been using basically a variation on the rig of a 73 key Nord on top of a Yamaha CP300 for 15 years now or so, and the Stage 2 does a great job. I run it in most presets in dual keyboard mode, so the CP300 serves as a weighted controller, so I'm playing piano sounds in the Nord using this, and then up here I've got synth sounds, string sounds, organ, lots of organ, just depending on what the song calls for. The other thing that the CP300 is nice for is it's got the built-in speakers. I use those. This is a everybody on in-ear and, but we get to use the the built-in speakers. I run the whole submix of the keyboard rig through those. In-ears ever go down, which they never have, I have a way to hear myself. So it's sort of a security blanket. And also it just feels nice. The instrument vibrates as you're playing it like a real piano would. So let's see here. We've got great pianos, strings. Great organs. I'm running those through a Leslie 142 here. It's essentially a Leslie 142. It's actually an old 45 cabinet with a 122 amp in it, rebuilt by M&S Organ. Mic'd in my preferred 2 on the top on adjacent sides and an MD421 on the bass rotor. So lots of organ sounds going through there. Also, I route some Mellotron sounds, route the Mini Moog through it from time to time, depending on what I want to do. So this is definitely the core of the rig here. Over here in synthesizer world, we have a Mellotron M4000D, one of the new digital Mellotrons. We've got an expansion sound card in it. Lots of goodies coming out of that guy. Depending on the tune, but flutes are a big deal in this band, obviously. For the Crazy On You signature line, I'm using this, and for several other tunes as well. There's a lot of really useful general atmospheric sounds. I run, there's some great guitar feedback samples on the expansion card that I use quite a bit, sometimes through a very wet effects chain, almost as a pad. It's one of my favorite tricks. Up here on top of that, we've got a great poly synth from the fine folks at Sequential, the OB6. I use this for pads, for basses on certain tunes where we have some synth bass going on, some atmospheric things, wind noise on Mistral wind and some other moments like that. And then here we have a synth that I did not want to do a Heart tour without, the Moog Music Mini Moog Model D reissue. This synth has been great. It's a little bit of a challenge having a synth with no patch memory on a tour like this, but I kind of wanted that element of chaos in there, and plus it just sounds fantastic. So this obviously comes into play for Magic Man. For that double synth solo, I'm playing one part of it up here and one part of it down here. This being a poly synth, I can bust out into a power chord at the end just like the record does. And then from there we take that section of the tune in kind of a different direction, which is kind of where some of this comes in. We've got an effects chain for each of these devices. Each one of them gets a Eventide H9 with some custom presets. And then also we have the Strymon Deco. The Mellotron hits that first, which gives us a little bit of tape emulation and a tape wobble. It's also can serve as a automated double tracking effect. So all that goes together great with the Mellotron, just like butter on toast. helps sort of re-tapify it a little bit, because these samples are very, very pristine by Mellotron samples. So, and then we have the Petosa Little Pro X accordion. There's way more accordion in this show than I thought there was going to be. I brought it with me to rehearsals kind of on a whim, but everybody loved the sound, and it's actually getting used on several tunes. This has a great, I think it's called a harmonic, the latest and greatest internal mic and pickup system. That's been working fantastic. Sounds great out front. Very good rejection of drum kit and other loud sounds on stage. So yeah, this thing's been performing like a champ, and the instrument itself is yeah, one of my favorite accordions I've ever played. And then finally down here in the rack, we've got a few specialty pieces. We've got the Lounsbury pedals tall and fat. My organ signal chain hits that first, which is just routed out of a output 3 on the Nord stage. From there, the organ signal chain goes down here into channel 8 on this radial space heater. It's kind of a tube distortion unit. You can select tube voltage and things like that. This one's left out of the mix bus. And then from there, it goes down into this unit that Mike Smokowitz from Trek 2 was kind enough to custom make for me. It's a Leslie 122 interface with 2 inputs, 2 foot switch inputs for speed control. And it also, in addition to having an output for Leslie 122, has outputs to control a ventilator. So we have a live backup if the Leslie ever goes down in the middle of a show. All I have to do is unmute this ventilator up here, and it goes into the main keyboard mix, and everybody goes on, no big deal. Then here we have the Sonic Nuance Electronics. This is a Jensen transformer-based DI that I run the accordion through. It has the great convenience that not enough DIs have, in my opinion, of a mute switch. Ted Burmis makes these units. This one's been great. It's been on the road with me for 3 years now with Hart and with Ann Wilson before that. All the other keyboard channels and the accordion stuff goes into this, which is a Midas MR18. It's mounted backwards in this rack. Basically, I got my submix figured out, and then it hasn't changed since rehearsals. All the synths, the Nord, the accordion, and this, when it's unmuted, go into that. And then I have 2 basically stereo submixes, which are routed from there back into this space heater unit. These first 2 pairs are assigned to the main mix bus, so I have front panel control over the main keyboard sounds and the more synth-based and Mellotron-based keyboard sounds. I can put a little tube distortion on those, whereas the main ones I keep clean. And then this is the last step before we go out to a radial twin ISO to front of house. That's nominal level to those guys. And then out of the headphone jack here, which is also the main mix bus, that's what drives the built-in speakers up here on the Yamaha. And that, oh yeah, and then also over here we have a ERM multi-clock, which takes a 24 pulse per quarter clock signal from the drummer's MPC, which he uses to generate click track for everybody. So on tunes where I have time-based effects that I want locked into the click everybody's playing to, I can use that to drive this. That goes out to the OB6, goes to the Nord, goes to these H9 effects units. Everything's nice and clocked in, right on the right tempo and right on the right grid. And you can adjust offset if one of the units needs a little bit of negative or positive offset to be right on. You can just dial it in right here. Or if the band gets excited and gets ahead of the click, you can chase them around with the little shift knob. Works great as a system for making sure that everybody's focused in, and all the electronic effects work great with what's happening organically on stage. So, the Spaceship here with Hart, Love Alive 2019. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Oh, one more thing. I also wanted to mention my keyboard tech here. Roland Linz McKay, who puts all this stuff together for me every day. He does a fantastic job. He's been working hard for me now for several years and has worked with a veritable who's who of people through his years as a drum, guitar, keyboard, general purpose backline tech. He fixed the tour bus once. He's a luthier. This is his company, Bonneville Custom Guitars. Check him out. And also, I've just been loving working with the great crew we have here on the Heart Tour, including the flat-bellied, steely-eyed professionals of sound image, especially our monitor engineer, Matt LaVoice. Great guy. The ears sound great every night. So thanks to those guys, and thanks again for taking the time to watch. Have a great day.